Hello, my name is Glen Troublefield. I'm the 2015 and 16 chair of the Tort Trial Insurance Practice section. Congratulations in becoming a General Committee chair. Our General Committees are important to TIPS. Our General Committees produce CLE programs, publications, and other member benefits that establish TIPS as a national voice in the tort, trial, and insurance practice field. As a leader in TIPS, your dedication and your stewardship have made us a better association, a better profession, and a better section. Because we are invested in your success, we created this video. In this video, you will hear from past section chairs, many of whom have served as a chair of a general committee. These section chairs will give you information that is both inspiring and informative. They will help you to develop the tools to lead your committee members to the highest level of Bar Association services. Of course, if you have any questions, the past section chairs are always available to answer them. So let's get a pad and pencil and sit back and listen to some of the great leaders in TIPS. And thank you. I look forward to seeing you at a next TIPS meeting.
Hi, I'm Linda Klein, and I was privileged to chair the Trial Techniques Committee more years ago than I can remember. What I remember most about my experience was meeting Neil Shane, who was the chair when I was a very young member and a new member of the committee. And Neil reached out to me as a young lawyer, and he made my experience, my entire ABA experience, very special for me. I'd bring my files to meetings, he'd help me evaluate them. He introduced me to other leaders in the section, he got me integrated into the section. And when I became a chair of my general committee, Trial Techniques, I did the same thing for other young lawyers, and I hope you'll do that too.
The best thing about being a general committee chair is that you have a platform to do all sorts of creative things in your year as chair. You can develop new programs, your committee can write books or articles, publish papers. Some committees have done things like going to China or South Korea, for example, the International Law Committee. It is a wonderful place to be as creative and energetic as you want with the support of a larger organization, TIPS, and an even larger organization, the ABA, behind you. I encourage you to think broad and not be bound by what's gone on before you, so that you can do things that will appeal to your members and grow your committee.
I would suggest that you have each of your vice chairs or your subcommittee chairs prepare written reports to you on a quarterly basis. Very short, very succinct, but containing these three things. What is their initiative for their position that year? What have they accomplished to date? What is left to accomplish to carry out that initiative, and when do they anticipate that it will be completed? If you ask that they prepare those written reports, then when they sit down each quarter to report that to you, then that will put the pressure on them to report an accomplishment, and they will make sure that it's done so they're not embarrassed by not carrying out their role.
Realize that not everything that you're going to do is going to succeed. You have to try things to find out what works. But out of that, sometimes you get lucky. I planned this big national program when I was chair of my committee, and it was an absolute failure. And I felt horrible about it, but you know, things happen, and I did the best I could. But one of the things I learned was you have to look for other opportunities. And so from that project, we took the course materials and created a book, which wound up at the time being the best-selling book in the section's history. And so bad story turned into good story, and you have to look for those opportunities because they're out there for you.
Plan your 3 goals early on. Don't overdo it with the goals, but start working on them more than a year before you ascend to your chair position. 2, secure the buy-in of the TIPS staff and the other TIPS leaders early on. Success in accomplishing your goals is always a team effort. 3, don't get sidetracked by the demands of others. In other words, don't check your email inbox too often. You want to accomplish your priority goals. When you succeed, you're going to be very happy. You'll have a wonderful year, and then reward yourself by visiting me in Hawaii. Aloha and good luck.
Being a chair is not a one-person effort. You must delegate, and you must delegate regularly. But delegation doesn't stop there. It's a 2-step dance. You have to follow up. an email, an occasional phone call. Many younger members, particularly if this is their first venture into committee leadership, sometimes are overwhelmed by routine administrative tasks that you can solve with a small word of encouragement or a simple phone call. Please do that. And finally, your most important lasting contribution to the bar and to the section is to train the next generation of leaders. So encourage your folks on a regular basis, keep them interested, and above all, make sure that it's a fun job.
TIPS is in the relationship business. We like each other, we love each other, and as Tim McGraw says, we want more of each other. TIPS is in the relationship business. We care about each other, we love our friends, we make great friends. We have the corner on the market in this area, in the ABA. It is really a relationship organization.
The most important thing for a TIPS leader to remember is that TIPS is a voluntary service organization. Our primary responsibility as TIPS leaders is to bring together people to fulfill the TIPS purpose of bringing together lawyers of diverse backgrounds and practices to provide leadership, inspire professionalism, and improve the civil justice system. The legacy of an effective TIPS leader has nothing to do with where your meetings are, or the speeches you've given, or the programs that get put on. What matters are the opportunities that get created for our members. Like all TIPS leaders, my opportunities were provided by others who trusted me to be part of a team dedicated to delivering value to TIPS members. And the best way to reward that trust is to find and nurture the new generation of TIPS members to follow you.
Two words that I would offer you as advice, having learned the hard way as a committee chair and as chair of the section, and those would be inclusion and communication. Inclusion is crucial because if you're like me, you may think that you can do it all and accomplish great things pretty much on your own. And while that's undoubtedly true, what I've discovered over time is that the more people you can involve in your planning and in the implementation of your plans, the stronger the committee will be and the more effective it will be, not only for the year in which you serve as chair, but for the committee to continue on thereafter and still be a strong, effective group. With all those people that you've included and brought into the section and into the committee, it becomes ever more important to communicate effectively as well.
I believe that our strategic plan is a perfect template for you as you enter your year as chair of your general committee. Goal 1 was that TIPS was to provide networking, leadership, involvement, and professional development opportunities for our members. And you, as chair of your section, will have the wonderful, wonderful experience of networking with scholars and lawyers from throughout the country. And that's what really TIPS is all about, and that's what makes TIPS special. Enjoy your experience.
I went about assigning people to responsibilities who, many were my friends of course, but I assigned people who I knew would do a good job at the position that I appointed them to. And then I got out of their way and let them do their job. When I found that when you gave people that sort of freedom to perform, they did a terrific job. I wish you the best of success in your position. I know you will enjoy it, and I hope you will continue to serve for many years to come.
First of all, have a vision of what you want to do in your year as chair and plan ahead for it. When you decide what you want to do, think about the various aspects of the committee, from the website to publications to programs and events, and have a plan for making all of that happen. Reach out early. Reach out to your predecessors who will help you with what succeeded for them and what mistakes they made, and reach out to your members, because it is your members, and the more active you can make them, the better off you are. It's your members who will help you on a day-to-day basis making happen the things that you want to accomplish. Network with the TIPS leadership, the council and the officers. Don't be afraid to do that. You'll find that they're very eager to hear from you.
I would ask you that remember that your selection as a leader of our general committees includes a fundamental responsibility to continue to nourish the needs of our members. Your continued efforts will ensure the future of TIPS as one of the premier sections of the American Bar Association. And finally, as leaders of TIPS, it is important for all of us to pursue our intent to promote greater diversity among our membership.
The most significant contribution that you will make to the bar and to the American Bar Association will be next year as a committee chair. You will drive the discussions and analysis on the development of the law in the area of greatest concern to you. The limits of your contribution really are bounded only by you. They're bounded by your imagination and your energy and your commitment. There's really literally nothing that you can't do and shouldn't do as a committee chair.
When I became vice chair-elect, I dealt with a number of the other sections, and we set up a monthly meeting to discuss things to do both in the House of Delegates and also in dealing with the wider ABA, and this discussion continued through the period that I was chair. The thing was that we tried to work together with the other sections in bringing matters before the House of Delegates that might involve more than one section's interest.
Many of the skills you have acquired in becoming a great lawyer will serve you well in your new leadership position. Passion, competence, diligence, a willingness to work hard. These traits are important, but being a great leader often requires a different skill set than the skills necessary for being a great lawyer. Leadership requires the patience of Job. It requires that you rise above the petty. It definitely requires that you be sensitive to your environment. There's nothing more disconcerting than a leader charging up the hill and finding out that no one's following. Know where your committee members want to go. Understand their priorities. Shape them the best you can, but never, never ignore them. Active listening is also important. Acquire the skill if you haven't already. Before making your own point, be sure to acknowledge the points made by others. That demonstrates that you have indeed listened to them.